I missed you last week, but I have a good excuse. I was busy studying for finals. I was able to sneak in every single run that I was supposed to do, so I'm pretty proud of myself for that, but I just didn't have time to pick up the camera or edit anything. But I'm back on trails and ready to have some fun with it now that I am stress-free and done with my final exams and my first semester of OT school. Woohoo! Hi, I'm Sandra. I'm an occupational therapy student and amateur outdoors adventurer, and I'm recording little bits of my life to share with others, as well as to remember the good, the bad, and the even better moments. So stick around for some fun. Today's time outside has brought us to Golden, North Table Mountain, which is not really a mountain, it's just a table. Today begins a series called Sandra Rates Denver's Urban Trails. And before we begin, I do have a bias. I strongly dislike all the trails near Denver. The main reasons being crowdedness and the lack of them. But here we are. So I'm gonna get hopefully about 700 feet of elevation gain and a couple miles under my feet today. It's a pretty light day. And we're gonna do that on North Table Mountain. This is actually my first time here to actually use the trails. I did some climbing here a few years ago. That was a phase of my life. I am not a climber, and nor do I ever wish to be one. But yeah, that's the only time that I've ever spent here, despite how close it is to the city. Probably about 25 minutes outside of the city. Pretty accessible from town. It's about as close as you can get for like real trails.
My mouth is a desert, running dry on the tip of my tongue. I can taste your lies. To measure
0.4 miles to where the incline really mellows out. If you're not familiar with what a table is, it's essentially a plateau on all four sides. That's the best I can describe it. So you have to climb up and then it's flat on top. And this trail loops it. I won't be doing the whole loop, so I will save my complete judgment until I come back and do the whole thing. But incline, easy to moderate, big rocks in the trail, but that's about as technical as it's been so far. Crowds, that's another reason I dislike Denver Trail. It is a Thursday at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the lower parking lot was almost full. So on weekends, I imagine that this is unbearable. We've reached where I climbed 2 years ago. I recognize this even though I did a night climb here. That's funny. I should get back into climbing. Part of the reason that I'm here today is because, I don't know if I mentioned in my last video where I talked about training, but I'm hopefully running rim to rim in the spring. The only thing that will stop me is my fear of heights. I am paralyzed of heights, so this trail is pretty narrow and close to a somewhat steep edge, which is good for exposure for me, which is why I'm here today, and will probably come back despite whatever I find that I feel about this trail. So far I've been listening to road noise from the highway and looking at the Rockies, which is fine. It's nice. It's almost pleasant. I'll be back with more judgments. I'm sure this doesn't look steep on camera or scary to like most people, but my heart is kind of singing at these drops right now. Even though if I fell, I would maybe roll an ankle. Like, I know logically in my head that I'd be fine, but it's just a fear. And from my research, the only way to get over it is exposure. Somebody recommended I go skydiving, which is never gonna happen. Nope. But I will slowly expose myself to steeper and bigger and scarier. And I'll be honest with myself when it comes to the time to decide if I'm safe on trail or not, because me getting paralyzed on a ledge could put my friends who I'm planning on doing the rim to rim with in danger. And I don't want to put my friends in danger, nor do I want to put myself in danger, nor can I afford a rescue from the Grand Canyon. So, yep. Okay, let's get some running. Whee!
The love you throw around, I could never hold you down.
So to me, trails like this are the same as running in the city in terms of like risk of wildlife, and like that's always a risk, but I listen to music, and sometimes people ask me what I listen to. Sometimes it's podcasts. Stuff You Should Know is a classic and one of my favorites because they're longer. Today it's music, and like a true 22-year-old, I am listening to Taylor Swift, and 22 by Taylor Swift, Taylor's version came on, and it gave me like this big pump up because when the song originally came out. I was 12, and now I am 22, and I had no idea what it would be like to be 22. And I thought it was gonna be so much cooler than it is. I thought 22-year-olds were adults, and I am an adult, but I also pretend a lot. And I'm so happy with how my life is right now. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm chasing my passions and challenging myself. I just thought that I would know more about 401ks by now. But I don't have a job. I am in school, so I know about loans, which is also fun. So yeah, I thought I'd share the thoughts that get sparked by music on the trail for me. And that it's not bad to listen to music on trails. Sometimes on the Colorado Trail, I needed it just to get me through the miles. But typically when I'm in more remote places, I do just listen to nature and let my thoughts carry me. And yeah, I thought some interesting things on the Colorado Trail. Okay, back to running. I always can't stop to talk to you guys. And to be honest, it's kind of an excuse to take a break.
One of us will have to take a bow. Feeling you so close to make me drive around. Everlasting love so
On top, 550 feet of climbing, about a mile. So not too terrible. Just to the top, it was super windy. I don't know if you could hear that last clip. So not bad in terms of climbing, but not as steep as I'll need later. But the top looks really fun. Definitely on a longer day, I'll come back here because I like the take yourself on hills and then have some nice flats. So that is something that the tables are good for. We're a little further from the highway now. I can still hear it, but it's not as loud. Let's see what else. I'm gonna turn this into a loop. I think, if not, I'm gonna turn it into a longer run. But I think from here I can drop down into the neighborhood and then just run up the road back to the trailhead. I think that would be fun and maybe help me get another couple hundred feet going back up to the trailhead. So we're gonna try that. I have the trail map, I'm sure I have access to it. I took a picture of it actually, so I do have access to it. But I mean, I know that there's a trailhead somewhere in the neighborhood and I see a trail that seems to be going down. So all things seem promising in terms of getting me there, right? So we're just gonna give it a go. I hate when trails are like this. It's fine, I'm fine, but I hate it. This loose rock and then having to climb. I've got little legs, so it's not just a matter of stepping for me, it's a matter of climbing. So, that's a full lunge. Let's see what's going on over here. Nope, I think it's gonna be this way. This should not even be a thing for someone who is has spent as much time outside as I have. But this stuff just, I hate it. I hate it so much.
go around. You got me so high I can't come down. I hope you know that I will never let you go. If all I
Maybe climbing all those years ago was worth something. That little bit was more of a game path than a trail. I'm fairly certain I'm not on anything that I'm supposed to be on right now. It's fun. Since I made a video about mitigating risks while you're hiking alone, and I'm now hiking alone and taking minor risks, I figured I'd talk about what I used from that video in order to be safe today. So I'm carrying my cell phone. It has a full battery. I'm in the city, so I have my location shared with some people because I knew that I'd have service the whole time and that would be a helpful thing to do. And I let someone know where I was going anyways, and I took a picture of the map, and I am making sure that I am not lost, and also staying aware of what time of day it is in case the sun decides it wants to start setting. It is still high in the sky somewhere behind those clouds, so we're good, and there is a road literally right there. So I'm almost back to the road, and then we'll find our way back to the trailhead. Oh, I see a trailhead. Okay, we're good. So be safe out there. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything you can't do. Even urban trails can be dangerous. So give Mother Nature the respect that she deserves, both in the city and when you're way far out. I feel like most of the people I know get injured in the city or in minor trails. Okay, I'm back on the road. out of the neighborhood and heading back towards my car. That was fun. I had fun. I'm sure it was a bit chaotic for you, but I had fun. Thank you so much for joining me today at Golden Cliffs Trailhead for a little run on North Table Mountain. It was fun to explore it, and if you're ever in the area, I do recommend exploring this one if you need something that's close to Denver. But if you have time, get out of the city and head up into the Rockies for some real fun. These urban trails are great for training and for when you just need your quick fix, but they are by no means what Colorado really has to offer. That's all that I have for today. If you are interested in following my training and running and exploring the Denver area, as well as probably other states as I get back into traveling more, then please subscribe. It would really support my channel and help me to stay motivated to do this. Thank you for sticking around for my silly little thoughts, and I'll see you next week.